Anime. Japanese animation, Japanese cartoons, whatever you like to call them. Whether you like them or just think they're weird, you can't deny the fact that they're everywhere and inescapable. I presume that if you clicked on this video, you're probably above the average anime watcher. I'd say that you're like in between a full-blown weeb or being a normal person. Or maybe you just watch anime casually, but whatever, back to the topic. Shinkai Makoto films. Stuff like Your Name, Weathering With You, Garden of Words, and the latest film, Suzume. They're all really cool and nice films, and honestly, they have some incredible animation. Like, the food in some of those films makes me want to take a big ass bite out of the screen just from how good it looks and how crisp it looks on screen. But you're probably gonna wonder, Alex, Weeb, whatever you call me, you're clearly praising these movies. How dare you say these movies are bland? And I'll say you're partially right. While I do enjoy these films, the really smooth animation and soundtrack, the characters, some jokes, you gotta look at these films as a whole and see what they share in common. I was scrolling through Twitter, looking for some nonsense, just maybe looking at shitposts, whatever, and this tweet by the user Daifuku381 stuck out to me, which states, Suzume made me realize Shinkai Makoto films are not like Wagyu steaks, but served every meal. Each one meticulously prepared, and the first time you eat it just melts in your mouth and blows you away. But after a few years, you notice the grease more than the flavor. The thread continues, but I'm pretty sure you get the overall point. I guess to put it in my own words, I would say, when first experiencing something, it's amazing, but too much of a good thing could be a bad thing and become bland over time. This is pretty much how I feel about these movies and what perhaps some who see this video probably feel. Before anything, however, I want to see if maybe perhaps I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just a wannabe Rotten Tomatoes. But I'm a fair person, however. So I'm gonna embark the 7 seas, scour multiple streaming services, and, give these movies a second chance, see if anything changes. Look, I sure as hell ain't an expert movie critic, but I'm gonna take notes of each film I watch, and before I embark on this epic adventure, I'm gonna watch 3 of these movies. The 3 in particular will be fairly new ones: Your Name, Weathering With You, and Suzume. If I watch any more than that, the video would probably be like a million hours long, and the script for this video already went through like a shit ton of rewrites, so I'd rather save myself the trouble. But anyways, I'll see you whenever I finish all these films.
One eternity later.
Okay, I'm back, and surprisingly, I wrote down a shit ton of notes. And before I give my opinion on these movies, I want to give kind of a summary for each of the movies I watched. So here we go. Your Name. Basically, girl and guy switch bodies, live each other's lives, but turns out the girl died 3 years ago, so there's a time travel thing, and the guy changes the past, and they fall in love and live happily ever after. Now, Weathering With You. Guy runs away from home, lives in Tokyo that's always raining. Dude meets a girl with the power to clear up the rain, so they make a scheme. Dude gets chased by the police and chases after the girl. He rescues her and they live happily ever after. So you can probably already start seeing a small trend these movies are following. Now we get to the end game of these 3 films, Suzume. It follows this girl who meets this guy who is mysterious, and there are these worms that causes earthquakes. And in order to contain these worms, they have to close a door that has these worms inside them. During this, the guy gets turned into a chair, and then we follow their adventure. The girl and the chair guy thing, they close doors, and over time the chair dies, and the girl wants to save him. Because she develops feelings for the chair guy, they stop the worm, and they live happily ever after. I get these summaries aren't really 100% accurate, but that's pretty much how I can summarize them in a small, I guess, abridged sort of format. You can probably tell these movies all slowly begin to sound the same. Although the plot's different, the outcome and romance are pretty much the same, and these movies all look fairly similar to each other. To begin with, I just want to say that watching these movies was fun. Don't get me wrong, these movies aren't by any means bad, but they just all feel the same. The way character arcs and the outcome is handled is pretty well executed. It feels like Makoto Shinkai has perfected this type of story, and by the time we reach Suzume, you can tell that the supernatural aspects of these movies have reached a crazy level, since As I stated before, it feels like an endgame for the Makoto Shinkai type of verse, I guess. Since the stakes are quite higher and the antagonistic force seems to be otherworldly, like as if the world's gonna end from these crazy ass threats that are introduced. The soundtrack and animation really do the story justice. Honestly, just makes these films more crisp. It gives you sort of that satisfying feeling. Character designs feel distinguishable, easy to differentiate. I forgot to mention that there's also cameos in both Your Name and Weathering With You. In Your Name, there's a reference to the previous film, Garden of the Woods, and then in Weathering With You, there's a reference to Your Name. So these cameos kind of give more of an interconnected feel, making these films feel more MCU type of way. Suzume is the one that has no cameos, however. It feels like it's its own thing, but connected in some way. Although the ending of Weathering With You really makes you wonder if it was even canon, since at the end of Weathering With You, half of Tokyo is under the sea, and in Suzume, everything's fine and dandy. There's a lot of things I can say, but I'll leave that to an actual movie reviewer. I'm just a guy who makes random shit on the internet. To answer the question, the main reason why I even made this video, are Makoto Shinkai films bland? It depends on the person, to be honest. One video can't really determine what everyone feels, but what can I say? Makoto Shinkai has perfected this type of film, and yes, it's become bland, and sure, something new would be great coming from this talented director. But that's not a bad thing though. To be honest, yes, I would like something different, but I mean, he's just playing it safe, and it works, the formula works. But that's just me though. Like I said, I'm just some random guy on the internet. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.